Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. So we are beginning to wind down, still rested today and tomorrow, but we're beginning to wind down what was really like the biggest and last major week for the stock market in terms of scheduled news. So next week is when the holidays begin, and then the final week of December is historically a quiet stretch, although historically it's also bullish. That's technically the week of the Santa Claus rally. However, with such a proliferation of short-term options, I mean, so many people trade either 0 days to expiration or weekly expiration. One of the things you really want to be mindful of is that options that have probably up to this point been carrying some significant implied vol because of this week's big catalyst of the overall market, CPI, FOMC. You might see that you might see those short-term options start to see implied vol crunch. Now we're moving through the catalyst window. We're going to hit kind of like a catalyst void, and for a lot of names, you're probably not going to have news until January. So I just want to do this as a reminder, like be very mindful of sitting in short-term options right now, especially if the stock is A, not moving, or B, moving against you, because premiums could really start to diminish quickly. Okay. That being said, there are still some things that will have news, and there are a couple economic, well, maybe not a couple, but there's at least one economic reading coming up next week, the PCE, which could be interesting. But if you're looking at options either as like this week's or today's, then you really just want to be smart about your stops, your targets, right? Whether you're going to be carrying risk overnight, because if something's not working during the day, you really want to debate whether it's worth carrying overnight, or do you want to like get out and then revisit it tomorrow. But I am still looking at like a couple things that should have news in the not too distant future. Tesla won't be the end of December, but it will be the very beginning of January. Stock obviously is acting miserable, keeps breaking down. Elon selling, but this is something that probably will still have a lot of interest and volume and attention into the end of the year, because at the very beginning of January you get deliveries. Next week you have Nike, big name reporting, right? That is one of only maybe a couple next week that are really like possibly sector moving. So Nike, and the other one's Micron. So if you're looking at a couple names, could be Nike, Micron, Tesla. Also, I mean, as like sympathy plays, Micron can move like Western Digital, Seagate. Nike could impact some of the athletic apparel names, although we just had Lululemon earnings last week, so maybe less so. But you know, the calendar definitely starts to quiet down, so you just really want to be mindful of those like short-term options, and even more importantly, you really want to make sure you got tight stops, you got a game plan, and realistically, if trades aren't working during the day, you need to determine whether you actually want to take that risk overnight, because if the stocks don't move, don't gap, you might get the chance for a better opportunity the following day to revisit. Okay. So we'll see how things wrap up the week. Tomorrow's big OPEX, so we could see some fireworks. And as the indices break down, maybe we start to resolve the range to the downside. But we'll just have to wait and see. All right. So have a fantastic night, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.